Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another top 10 type of video for the Walking Dead television series. In this one, I'm going to be counting down who I think are the top 10 best villains so far up to the Walking Dead Season 7's second half. And I want to thank you guys for this suggestion. I do think it is a really good suggestion for a video, so I wanted to do it for you guys. So thank you, those of you who suggested the idea. So I haven't really done a top 10 best villains list so far for The Walking Dead because up until recently, we didn't have that many villains. You know, a lot of the characters here for The Walking Dead, you can kind of consider them villains in some ways. In other ways, maybe not. Some ways you get characters where it's more like it's just complicated. You have groups like the group where at first they seem like they're definitely villains, you know, having captured Glenn and holding him hostage in order to get supplies and weapons, but then afterwards it kind of is revealed from their perspective that really they're just trying to do right by the people that they're caring for. There's also characters like Lizzie, who, you know, is she an antagonist? Well, not really. She's kind of confused, but she does murder her sister. And, you know, you get some characters like this with The Walking Dead that it's very gray. So, you know, for now, I'm going to count those type of characters out of this. Characters like Martinez, because I don't really think Martinez by himself is really a villain. Shumpert, you know, more under the control of the governor and not a primary antagonist by himself. So that said, let's get into the top 10. So number 10, I'm going to go with Officer Dawn Lerner. So Dawn. So not one of the best villains in the shows we've had, but still a pretty good antagonist for Beth. I feel like she had a pretty good thing going there with Beth. You know, the group at the Grady Memorial, the group of officers that kind of, in some ways, abduct people and, you know, other survivors out there, feel like they're doing the right thing for them, but then actually use them kind of as their slaves, sort of, to do their bidding and take care of them and clean and do all that stuff for them. Definitely a villain from the perspective of Rick's group. So she was a pretty cool villain. She's not one of the best, but I definitely had to put her on the list, so I'll put her at number 10. Number 9, narrowly beating her out, is one of those it's complicated type of characters, and whether or not you want to even consider him to be a villain, at least at this current time, because mostly he's just following what Negan tells him to do, and we'll see later on in the series if he's going to stay loyal to Negan. So he may actually, in the long run, not end up actually being a villain, but that is Dwight. From Daryl's perspective, I think Dwight has been a really good villain, an easy villain to hate. Pretty simple in the way of, you know, he's bested Daryl a couple times. Fans of Daryl are, of course, going to hate him. And, you know, he's a pretty nasty customer. You know, he'll be on your side, he'll make it seem like he's with you. And then, of course, he'll turn on you, you know, right when the opportunity comes up that it makes sense for him to do so. So we'll have to see where his loyalty lies with Negan, and then afterwards what happens with him in the survivors, and eventually he may not actually kind of be a villain after all, but so far he's been a pretty intimidating villain, not always, you know, winning every battle, but for the most part besting Daryl and beating Daryl when it mattered near the season 6 finale. Number 8 is going to be Simon. So very fun character. His story, of course, is not finished yet, and he may move up further on this list as time goes on. The only reason why I have him at number 8 and not higher up right now is because he really did kind of just get here. I mean, we haven't seen that much with him. First appearance being the season 6 finale. I think he was a great choice. You know, casting Stephen Ogg, you know, Grand Theft Auto and all the other shows he's been in and stuff. Really funny actor. Really does a great job as Simon and Negan's number 2. Really feels similar to Negan in a lot of ways, and kind of a suck up in others. You know, kind of shady a little bit. These are going to be for me, right? When he takes the booze from Gregor and everything. You know, he takes credit for stuff, and you know, we haven't seen too much with him yet, but he has a lot of potential, and he could move up this list later. So right now he's going to be at number 8. Number 7, we're going to go with Joe's group, the Claimers, or Joe. I thought Joe was a pretty good leader. You know, him and his rules. When men like us follow the rules, the world becomes ours. Kind of some similar themes with Negan here with the idea of rules and having to follow rules. I did think Joe's group, the Claimers, was a pretty intense group, kind of being out there on their own. Daryl sort of, coming into the group and then turning on them afterwards when they're chasing down Rick. Also, you could even argue maybe like, are they villains, this kind of thing, because Rick did kill one of them. It's again, some of the Walking Dead villains are very humanized. They're more shades of gray. They're not necessarily black and white, but we do get the sense that Joe is kind of a scumbag and his group of followers are also kind of trash. So I'm going to put it at number 7. Pretty exciting stuff up to the finale of season 4 there with the Claimers and Joe. Number 6 is going to be the Alpha Wolf. Really enjoy seeing the actor who played the Alpha Wolf now in Gotham playing the Mad Hatter. He's really fantastic. Really love the way he uses his eyes with such an intention. He comes up onto Morgan there in the season 6 finale in Conquer and attacks him and everything, and has some interesting ideas, booby traps and things like this with the semi trucks, and using those to his advantage when they attack Alexandria, and then being captured afterwards and trying to escape. Really good stuff. I like the Alpha Wolf. I thought he was a good kind of minor villain. He's not a major villain like some of the others that we're going to get to soon, but he played a minor role there in season 6, and I thought the Wolves were really exciting. JSS is one of the most exciting episodes we've ever had of The Walking Dead, so I'm definitely going to put him on there. He's number 6, the Alpha Wolf. Number 5 is going to be Gareth. So Gareth, Terminus, and the Hunters, so to speak. Gareth is another really cool villain. Now, they try to do some things with him where they try to humanize him a little bit more than, I don't think it worked. I don't think it got over with fans because they did the flashbacks and they kind of showed how well his group was kind of tormented and this kind of thing, and they were starving, so then they decided to turn to cannibalism. It's somewhat realistic because human beings in the past before in our ancestry, you do have groups like during the Ice Age, things like this, that would do this. They get so hungry they would turn to cannibalism, which is absolutely brutal to see. I think it was a great idea and a great creation by Kirkman to create a group like that because they're that scary. I mean, very intimidating, horrific what they do, and also Gareth being pretty smart, that he lures people in and then he traps them, so to speak. Andrew J. West, I think, did a great job of portraying him kind of as this mastermind character. Physically himself, not strong. Probably most of us would kick his ass pretty easily. And Rick certainly would kick his ass one-on-one. But as a mastermind character and kind of setting up traps and that, very interesting. Very, very interesting character. So I'm going to put him at number 5, Gareth. I really liked him in The Hunters. Really good. Number 4 is going to be Merle. Oh, man. Merle was a really cool villain at the start there in the first season, being a racist and everything, with T-Dog on the roof and all that. And then afterwards, in the third season, the first half of season 3, second half, he kind of, is brought back by his brother. He kind of becomes an ally, so to speak. I wouldn't say necessarily he's a good person by any stretch of the imagination, but he was a really intimidating villain in the first part of season 3 there, especially when he captures Glenn and Maggie, man. I remember that being like, whoa, great villain, man. But again, it's complicated. The Walking Dead villains are not so black and white. He has more to it than that. His brother can influence him, and of course the governor turning against him can have Merle go the other way, and we can sympathize with him because he was under the governor, so he was doing what the governor told him to do. But still, he was a strong villain as the governor's number 2 in the first half of season 3 there, and Michael Rooker did an incredible job as Merle. Awesome villain, and also a really cool ally at the end of season 3 there. Really cool kind of, can we say anti-hero, sort of? I guess, kind of, in a way. So I'm going to put him at number 4. Number 3 is going to be a big time It's Complicated. I've seen other lists online. They do list Shane as a villain. For me, I've never really viewed Shane purely as a villain. I kind of view it as a personal struggle sort of between him and Rick. And now especially, which I really like about Season 7, something they've added on, the confirmation that in fact Judith is Shane's. So I think that really adds to Shane's case here and really makes him kind of, you have Rick come in, he takes over the group, he takes over Shane's position as the leader, so to speak. He pulls rank on him, so to speak, and he uses charisma to take over the group. So you can see Shane's perspective here. Was it right for Shane to try to kill him as a result of that? Hell no, of course not. But still, you see the things that are happening around him. His baby is going to be raised by another man. You have all this different stuff. He loses Lori. He loses control of the group. He kind of loses control of his whole life. He loses his locus of control, and everything just goes down with it. And in the end, I guess you could say when he's attacking Rick and everything that he's definitely a villain, because they seem to have worked that out, and they had one kind of fight beforehand in 18 Miles Out. So it definitely wasn't right to try to kill Rick. So I guess he is a villain, but just so many points of view here, and just from his side, Rick and the other side, and everything. Really interesting character for sure, but definitely one of the best villains in the show if you look at him as a villain at the end there when he's killing Randall and going after Rick. So number 3 is going to be Shane. Number 2 is going to be the Governor. You kill or you die and you kill. David Morrissey did an amazing job as the Governor. I absolutely loved seeing the Governor in the series, and I really like the hallucination sequence where he comes back in Tyrese's final episode, what happened and what's going on. Very intimidating, very serious and stern and intimidating. Kind of plays Tyrese's shadow if you're into archetypes and Jungian psychology. His manifestation of fear, his humanized manifestation of fear, and the Governor certainly is somebody that can do that. If you look at the mid-season finale for season 4, Too Far Gone, when he attacks and you got the tank and everything, the tempo, his theme music, really, boom, 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 boom. Really good theme song for him in the season 3 finale. And the final fight between him and Merle, biting his fingers off and everything. Some really great stuff. And definitely the Governor, up until recently, he was number 1 for sure. I mean, he was an impressive villain. He, definitely evil, definitely full of pain, and, not a nice, character at all. No empathy for others, as Herschel tries to show him. How can you do that to someone else's kids? Having been a father yourself, they're not mine, right? Just no empathy towards others. Definitely kind of a more classical type of villain, a lot less gray area here, more black, black and white with the Governor. Number 2, the runner-up, is the Governor. So that leaves us with number 1. Who could it be? Of course, as we all know, number 1 is going to be Negan. JDM coming in at number 1 already. He just got here, half a season and 1 episode. So, what do we have to even say about Negan? Of course, he's the best villain in the series so far, I think. Even though he's had much less time than the Governor did. I mean, he's charismatic, he's funny, he's crazy, he's psychopathic, he enjoys bashing people's brains in. He has a baseball bat named Lucille. I mean, this guy's gimmick is sweet. This guy has a sweet gimmick, man. I have never been so excited to see a character's first appearance in any series or movie ever as I have been for Negan, and JDM has not disappointed. Very funny, very intimidating, something to fear when he has to be. And I think already he has surpassed the Governor in pretty much every way. When he needs to be scary, he's probably more scary than the Governor. He's probably more intimidating than the Governor. When he needs to be charismatic, he's more charismatic than the Governor, I think, too. When he has to be funny, he's definitely more comedic than anyone else on this list. So Negan certainly has a lot of layers to him, and also kind of its complicated side a little bit as well, too, because these saviors are not easy to control, which is something that we're going to find out later in the series, which has kind of been playing in the comics recently, that the saviors are kind of a group of scumbags, so to speak. They're a group of misfits, so to speak, and keeping them in line is not an easy thing to do. So Negan resorts to kind of theatrics and brutality in order to keep them in order. So definitely he's got to be number 1 on the list for sure. Is Negan, already passing the Governor, already passing Shane, Merle, and all the others. So that's my list based on my own opinion, and also what I've seen in comments too. When I do top 10 lists, as I was explaining to a viewer recently, I do factor in what I see from you guys. So what you guys say in comments, what I see from you after each episode and after each half, it does influence my top 10 list. They're not just my opinion by itself. They also are formed by what I see from tens of thousands of comments from you guys and your opinions as well too. So I factor those in too. So there's a list. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, you know what the hell to do. Thumb that shit up. You can also share, you can favorite if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to subscribe. And you can also ring the bell at the bottom, click the bell to turn on notifications to see the videos posted on the channel whenever they are. So may have another video for you guys tomorrow. May have to take a day because I'm just not sure. I have to put together, see how much material we've got here for another video tomorrow. Send me whatever questions you guys got for Q&A, and I'll try to get one done for you guys if we've got enough to talk about. So for this video, guys, we'll see you soon for another. It's Trev. I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.